Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and we love releasing content for y'all. But one thing we want to put out there, just kind of as a disclaimer or a pastoral recommendation, if you will, is that while we're going through these movies, we certainly have a set list, and not every one of them is our favorite. It is also true that not every one of them we necessarily recommend. So some of them are going to be a little bit more for mature audiences, and a lot of the subject matter and material is going to be for mature audiences. And so we just ask you guys, just listener discretion advised. Me, Marty, and Ryan, we're always going to keep the podcast itself clean. It's going to be clean content, but some of the subject material might be more appropriate for mature audiences. So just keep that in mind. As I said, this is not a recommendation on the films. This is us just walking through each of these movies and trying to put out good content. We love the opportunity for you guys to watch these movies along with us, but by no means are you expected to, and are we wholeheartedly approving of them. So just like I said, listener discretion advised.
Oh, that didn't get recorded? That thing I just said?
No.
Oh, it's a bummer. I can't say it again.
Well, we just recorded an entire episode.
So-
We have to re-record another one.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Ryan, can I make a request?
Sure.
Do you have any A&W?
I don't.
Dude,
Are you serious?
I ran
Dude.
out. We drank the last 3 years.
Ryan cares for us, is what he's
I
saying.
feel like Pavlov's dog or something. Like we record a podcast, then my mouth wants some A&W. It wants some A&W.
Which, I mean, it's going to kill you someday because we're mug-blooded Americans.
It will kill you someday.
Just so everyone knows, there's 2 episodes in a row we've talked about this. I'm saying mug-blooded. Mug is a brand of root beer.
What do you think?
I feel like
they-
every
they
time I
thought
say
you
it,
were
I'm like,
saying?
someone's like, is that like a racial slur or something? I
Mudblood?
promise
It
it's
is
not.
a racial slur.
Well, I feel like
You don't think it's a racial slur?
someone's going to hear something worse than mudblood. And I'm like,
Dude, it's pretty insensitive.
I agree. But what if they hear something else? And I
Like
don't know.
what?
I don't know.
Like what?
It's just a fear. I don't want to get canceled. If I'm going to get canceled, I'm going to say something on purpose.
Yeah. What do you think people don't when they get canceled? They don't say something on purpose. They say it on accident.
Well, I'm not with the intention of getting canceled.
I don't know. I feel like some people probably go, "I'm gonna get canceled for this. I'm gonna say it anyway."
Unless you're Kevin Hart.
What did he say?
I mean, he said some things a while back before it was canceling.
Oh,
But so he got canceled. He was like the first person to get canceled. He's uncanceled now, but
well, I saw this thing where it's like they didn't have before cancel culture, like way back in the ancient days, they would just send them into exile. Like that was cancel culture.
cut their head off.
Yeah, that's sad.
I think we're doing all right.
About what? Cancel culture?
Not cutting off a bunch of people's heads.
Ryan, what do you think about Marty just saying he thinks cancel culture is all right?
No. I said, hey, we're all right.
About what? We're okay with cancel culture?
Cancel culture is in a better place now than it was back then.
You think so?
A little bit. It's close, but a little bit.
Can we put that?
I
on-
would rather get my Twitter account suspended than get my head beheaded.
head
Or
bed.
be hot.
It could be hot.
Past tense. Be
You probably
hot.
don't want my opinion. We'll probably get canceled for it.
Beheading.
That's fair. Thank you for your
beheading.
honesty, Ryan. Well, friends, this is 3 Dudes in a Movie.
Keep talking. I'm
At
gonna
the
make some
movies.
tea since we don't have any.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
So this is going to be our next installment of At the Movies, which of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was the first. This is our sub-series where we diverge from the list. That is the list that we've been using and calling people to choose a random number for. And so this being our 4th movie we've seen at the movies and talked about, but our 2nd one that gets its own episode. So at the end of this, we'll rank it. We'll get to talk about it. Ryan got to see The Northman today. Jacob and I got to see it about 10, 11 days ago. It's a very violent Viking epic that I think has the story of Hamlet. No, it has the story of Hamlet. There's nothing I'd rather monologue right now about while Ryan eats popcorn and Jacob makes tea than the fact that The Northman is Hamlet. And let's not tell Jacob we're having this conversation, Ryan, which is very one-sided because you have your popcorn. I want him to hear it after the episode's published because he really, really, really didn't love the post-movie discussion where I was just like, bro, that was just Hamlet with more blood. So I wonder what kind of tea he's gonna make. What kind of tea did you make? Did you make the
green?
green? That's my favorite. I didn't talk about much while you're gone, but at least I talked this time. So
You came in with your head held down, and I could see the worry on your chin like a
Hey,
face.
let's not get
They're not gonna strike us. I think it's funny how you
copyright
don't
struck.
talk back like you ended the discussion in your head with a comeback.
Hey, maybe you keep doing that, Brother Moses will give
And
us
it's
a listen.
summer again. I wonder which part of the globe is getting over you. Yeah, but we have to do like he did, and halfway through the last song, just like run out of the room. Would you think about it? Think about it like this: when you play a song and the last line is, "I think it's time for me to leave," you don't really have a choice at that point.
That's
you gotta
true.
leave.
That's true. And did you see them on the other side of the window?
That was the funniest part.
That was
Is
so funny.
waiting on and they go one more song, one more, and they clearly had not.
You can see them. So
frosted windows.
Some context. We went to a concert this past week.
We talked
Brother
about it.
Brother Moses.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned it
Yep,
last week.
we
or
mentioned it a little
yesterday,
bit.
I guess. Well,
Highly recommend giving them a listen if you don't know it. Very chill, very unique.
fellow Arkansans.
Yeah, Arkansans.
We love Arkansas here.
We do.
Yep.
Roll hogs or whatever they say.
Dude,
Just kidding. Go hogs.
that's the most. Right now, I feel the most angry at you I've ever felt.
Ever?
That's not a joke.
Ever.
Yeah, keep
Oh,
going.
I'm sorry. I
So
like
mad.
Arkansas.
Don't
I do
ever
not
do
like
that again.
Alabama. I won't ever do it again.
My fingers are tingling.
They're black, just like Scarlet Witches were in the other movie we talked about already.
Other episodes. Wow, great start, Marty.
Hey, that
Morty.
one's published already. Oh, geez, Jacob, I'm sorry.
Hopefully, they're watching this one or they're listening to this one after Doctor Strange. But
They
when
said,
you think about it,
I'd rather watch The Northman a week later after Doctor Strange already been published.
Which I have a point
That's
about
backwards.
that, but keep going.
Well, I would just finish discussing the concert,
Yes.
which was so wonderful.
What song did they end on originally? Like, what was the last before the one more song?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was good though.
It was great.
So that they run off stage. Very
how many
very
years?
small venue.
Yeah.
Yes, it was how many years?
Yes.
Because you went. Oh, Trevor loves this one.
You better start singing, Trevor, who hadn't moved all day or all night.
I mean, he had been bouncing,
bouncing on the ball.
but you and I were the ones dancing.
I was dancing.
But the band finishes, runs off stage, and on the other side, just of these frosted windows in this center, they're just standing there. You can see the outlines of their shirt. One more song.
They're just standing there.
They give us 2 songs because. Do you want to share what we did?
So if you listen to Brother Moses, they have this wonderful track called Goldblum, and you're like, what could that song be about? It's Jeff Goldblum. And it's maybe 35 seconds. And he's like, oh, are they recording? Oh, hi. Yeah, thank you for listening to Brother Moses. That's Brother Moses. Thank you. And that's all it is.
And that's the song.
And so the entire show, we'd been joking about which one of us was going to yell out, play Goldblum.
Play Goldblum.
And they were having some technical difficulties with some of the tracks and stuff. So it was like kind of not dead air time. I mean, luckily they're super talented, not only as musicians, but as like showmen.
Just a proper
Yeah,
entertainer.
so it was just fun that, I mean, really he could have talked to us all night. I would have been like, you know what, we're here now, and James, he's a treat. So that was totally unintentional.
Oh, okay,
I'm so
sure.
sorry. Anyway, so he said, play Goldblum, and then so they go, one more song, and then finally they get up there, we're clapping. Trevor gets the courage to say, play Goldblum, which you can tell they hear that a lot because before he could even finish that sentence, they had already hit play, hit the space bar. It was playing.
And it played.
And then he leans in and he goes, all right, that was our one song.
We promised one more song.
And that's it. Have a good night. And then, of course, they didn't. But
And then we had to defend ourselves
You really
against a
think
room who
we
just
dodged a
stole
bullet.
a final song.
like, thankfully, they were really generous with their time because we could have
They
been
were.
facing death in that room.
That's true.
For what our antics.
And we have to point out the guy
Yeah.
who, before Trevor even finished yelling, play Goldblum, goes, play Disturbia.
Which is so much funnier than the inside joke that
Yeah.
is Goldblum.
Oh, so much so. And James goes, well, we got one of those.
That's true. He did say we got one of those. And then,
Anyway, great concert. Go listen to Brother
well,
Moses.
hey, time out. What would you have done if they played their cover of Disturbia? Because we got one of those, not Goldblum, but they played Disturbia. You go, that was really specific. I'm finding that guy and being like, what do you know?
I would have been pretty impressed.
Like, do you have other knowledge and wisdom that you're not telling us about? Like, how do you know that Brother Moses has
Disturbia,
they know how to play Disturbia?
it's like the darkness and the light. That was my Brother Moses impression.
Wait, is that how the song goes?
I think so.
No. Remember how the song goes.
It's
If
like
it's
the
you,
darkness
stay
in the
my place.
light, Disturbia.
Sam and Diane get together again, but they part in the end.
I hate that ending.
Anyway.
That was the one that you can't turn off. Anyway, you had a thought. Hopefully you remember it.
No. Wait, what was I saying?
You said it like 4 minutes ago.
We've only been recording for 2.
That's not even...
The iPad's upside down. I can't see time anymore.
That's true. Why is the minutes going so quick?
What was the thought that I was going to have?
Dude, I don't know. You said, I'll save it.
I have to... Oh, Northman. So we watched Doctor Strange pretty quickly, or we recorded Doctor Strange pretty quickly after watching it. Northman, there's been some time, except for...
just about 2 weeks.
Again, one of us has the eyewitness report. Ryan keeps watching these movies up to the minute, which is awesome. We love it. It also means he's going to be leading the discussion tonight. So Ryan,
violently shaking his head no.
Go ahead and kick us off. Or not, I don't care. I'm going to go finish up my tea real quick.
Go ahead, Ryan. What did you think about the Northman?
I felt like it didn't need to be.
Wait, are we recording right now?
Yes,
Oh, when did you say that we were recording?
I didn't.
Oh,
He said he was going to kick us off.
Oh, I thought we were
Yeah.
just staring
No,
intently. Okay, I'm going to start. Hold on. Yep. Okay, keep going.
I felt like it didn't need to be R-rated. They could have made the same movie PG-13 and removed some of the violence from it, or maybe not some of the violence, but some of the goriness. Didn't need to be so gory.
Yeah, that guy's guts just fall.
A few times.
It's pretty metal.
I liked the story. I just didn't like everything around the story.
See, I felt the opposite. I liked all the things around it, but I didn't really care. I mean, the story is fine. It was serviceable. So I was upstairs making my tea, and I just ran into Ryan Tannehill in our backyard.
What'd you say?
He had his own movie podcast, and he asked what I thought about the Northman. And he said, it's not too bad. What did you think of it? I said, my buddy Ryan hates it. And he said, well, speaking of Ryan, his headlights are still on, so if he could go take care of that. But Ryan, I wouldn't listen to Ryan if I were you. It's very dangerous. He is considered the Northman.
So, Ryan Tannehill tried to lure Ryan
Putbach
outside.
I think he wants to replace him. All I'm saying is that we consider it.
Look, here's what I know about Ryan. Our Ryan versus Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Our Ryan is loyal and gives us A&W.
Okay.
And Ryan Tannehill tells rookie quarterbacks to go worry about themselves. It ain't my job to mentor them.
I was going to ask Ryan, if you were to train up Ryan Tannehill to be our executive producer, would you or would you not say it's not my responsibility to train him?
I wouldn't. I'd just make him take my talking point, and I'd sit there and just listen and actually be a producer.
Oh.
Yeah, but he can't do that as a quarterback.
Wait, can we get a fourth person and they be like Ryan's talking like spokesperson?
Just like Mark is for Peter in the Gospel of Mark.
Yeah, just like that. How quickly do you guys think once this podcast once it takes off I'm crossing my fingers. How quickly we can replace ourselves?
85 unique listeners.
Hey man, they're unique.
They are. I love them.
Dude, I appreciate our listeners.
I do too.
Well, then don't use it as a point of derision,
Whoa.
What you did was like the virtual equivalency of, well, where's everybody at? Like, well, you're here. So I guess it's everybody we need.
You're right.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
Sorry, I get
You're talking about replacing us?
Yeah. I'm saying, no, we continue to make the revenue off the podcast, but we just have other people that speak for us.
Oh, just like being a CEO.
Yeah, so say that's what podcasters do all the time.
Do you think if we replace the three of us, anyone would notice?
I'm not sure how to answer that one.
Well, let's have them lie at the start of the episode and say that they are us. They'll say our names.
And how quickly do you think what would you think they would notice? What would be the first thing that they notice about each of us that's not us? Like, I knew that wasn't really Ryan when what happened? When so-and-so said.
When he said more than 8 words this podcast.
No, he spoke quite a bit at the Doctor Strange one.
He did.
More so than I did, I think.
That was more
Maybe
a joke.
It wasn't me.
Oh, no. It was Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill.
I couldn't notice because he wasn't wearing his Titans jersey.
Oh, no.
Marty, what would it be for you?
The podcast just isn't funny anymore.
It's funny. That's exactly what I was thinking. You're so right. Anyway,
It would depend on how it was done. If we were to use a voice modulator and make the voices sound the same.
but it wouldn't
You could
sound.
go pretty far with it.
It wouldn't sound as clean.
No
now.
way.
They would
That's
notice that
saying we're replaceable. We're irreplaceable.
when Ryan speaks, it happens.
Christ
Linus Tech
died.
Tips did it with a video.
I'm just
and people
saying,
bought it
Ryan,
for
our
a
executive
week.
producer, just said we're replaceable. He said, I can fire you guys, get a voice modulator so fast.
I was about to say it actually had happened, but I don't want to make that threat.
I was gonna say they would notice. They would
I'm not
notice.
buying a voice modulator.
They would notice when Marty was gone. Whenever he asked, I don't know, Jacob, what do you think about your question?
I do forget to do that quite often.
All right, Jacob, what was your thought from before?
Oh,
Wait, wasn't that it's been what, 3 weeks since we've watched it, or 2 weeks?
I think
That was my thought.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I have to go finish up my tea. I'll be back in a second.
This is the
talking.
story of a girl cried a river, drowned the whole world. Yeah, she looks so in your photograph and love her. Okay, I'm gonna stop that before we get copyright struck because of my immaculate singing. So I'm gonna say this. I've had this thought back in my mind for a while, and I think it needs to be said. You guys ready? I don't know if you're ready for this, but I think it's time that we get a mascot. I think this podcast needs a mascot. I think it needs to be a red panda because they're adorable. They're not quite pocket sized, but you can carry one around. You carry it around with one arm. I love to look at them. That's top 5 animal right there. So I'm going to want to know what you guys think. Go ahead and shoot us a DM on the Instagram. Don't do it on the Facebook because no one gets on Facebook anymore. Facebook is dead. It's insane to see how there's still like 20% of the human population on Facebook and like no one's on there. So anyway, yeah, I think red pandas should be our mascot as a podcast. I really would like to see that happen. So send us a DM on Instagram. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think.
Did we ever run that poll that we said we were going to at Doctor Strange?
No, I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Okay. Red pandas, I'm all about it.
Yeah, I said we should get a mascot.
Somebody to watch with us? Like a red panda?
Like a red panda.
How much does a red panda cost, Ryan?
Look, it's just
Ryan's on the case. He's going to see how much a red
Oh,
panda
okay.
costs.
All right.
Are we going to get canceled by PETA?
We'll take care of it. Ryan went incognito to look this up.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Smart man.
They'll never catch me alive. You said the PETA thing, and he said, "Oh, you're right."
One spicy boy. How much is it? Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say 50,000.
So the easy answer is
100,000.
no.
Okay.
You can't get one
Yeah, sure.
because China leases out each panda to zoos for $2 million in panda cost and research.
Wait, so if there's one like at the Nashville Zoo, it's leased out by the country of China?
For $2 million. That's what this article says. It's Artem being the Gothamist. Don't think it has anything to do with Batman.
Does that normally happen with exotic animals? That like I guess a country just leases them out?
This article says, can I legally own a red panda? And it's just the whitest family picture in the world for the article. Yeah. This article says over $1 million a year just to rent one.
Okay. Well, now we have our crowd, GoFundMe.
So I think we get a 4th person and just give them a red panda costume.
Oh yeah.
And they can sit right there.
And they make red panda noises.
They make red panda jokes.
They go, I don't know.
Not jokes about red pandas. They make jokes that red pandas make.
Like what?
Ryan, what's that one red panda joke you're
You
always telling
just-
me?
I love that. That's my favorite. Yeah, you know, so-and-so, you were just telling me that. That's my favorite thing to do in a conversation.
You and your boss right there.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
the time.
All the time. Like, Jacob was just telling me about that. Hey, what's the furthest north we've ever been? A couple Northerners, a couple Northmen.
Sault Ste. Marie in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Oh, yeah, where all the uppers are.
That's right. It's right on the
The quarter of...
of Canada, the border of Canada and Michigan.
Okay.
It's like that. It's got, it's a very similar bridge to the one in Detroit, except it's just 5 more hours north.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Sault Ste. Marie.
Yep. Second oldest founded city in America.
Oh, really?
Yep. Behind St. Augustine down in Florida.
How old is it? I mean, when was it established?
I'll Google it.
Right.
I used to know this off the top of my head.
Adirondacks. Oh.
I've been to Mount Washington in, I think it's Concord, New York. Or sorry, not New York, New Hampshire.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's a little
Just
further north.
than the Adirondacks,
Mhm.
I think. By a little bit.
I would think so. Okay. That's cool.
Sault Ste.
It's
Marie.
probably about the same as where Marty was.
Oh, really?
If you go latitude.
Yeah.
1668.
Who was over there? The Vikings?
Great question. What's it called?
Sault
Sault Ste. Marie. It's spelled SAULT. Salt with a U.
Sault Ste. Marie?
Sault Ste. Marie, but it's Sioux. It's
That's
French.
right.
It's French. It's a very cool place. It's the place that has the Sioux locks, where the boat comes into the lock. They completely drain it of water, so it lowers, and then it can go up into the next river.
Right.
It's really cool to watch. Boring as a kid, but now I got to see it once as an adult, and I was like, "That's cool.
That's pretty neat.
That's nifty." A child wouldn't appreciate that, but
Is there a Loch Ness monster?
the different kind of lock.
Oh.
That's the Scottish word for lake.
Oh.
This lock is like a spelled the same as a key lock.
Oh, right.
Here's something fun. If you drive from
Sioux.
Sault Ste. Marie.
Marie to Mount Washington, you have to do almost the entire drive in Canada.
Yeah, it's not too much.
Which is interesting
more
because
south.
that's such a busy commute. There's so many people that are doing that. You'd think that they would find another way out, besides going over Canada.
One time we did a mission trip in college in New York, and there was a route. You see it there, Ryan? We take through Detroit. We could have gone through Canada to New York. I begged, and they said, "We don't have our passports." I said, "That's fine."
Well, I told you about my buddy who got like a mile into Canada before they finally turned around and said, "Hey, you're in another country, eh?" And he was like, "I'm so sorry, was not aware of that."
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, that's so strange.
Did you do it that road in Detroit?
No, this was somewhere up in Minnesota.
Okay, because I just hear stories of people like, yeah, and if you get on that highway heading towards Canada, you're going to Canada.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it.
Turn around. Did you guys? I mean, Ryan, did you interact with the Canadians a lot? Where you were at? Where you grew up?
No, not really. A little bit in the High Peaks region.
Yeah.
They come down and hike some of the High Peaks. That's it.
That is just so foreign to me. Like, to me, I mean, obviously,
You've at least seen it.
Yeah, from
across the water,
across the river. Whatever.
Hey, I've never been there, and I've seen it 100 times.
But you
I've seen
guys
Canada,
hang
never
out with
been there.
Canadians more than I did, probably.
I bet we got a similar number, unless yours is 0.
Mine's pretty zero.
Is it 0?
What are you talking about?
You never hung out with a Canadian?
No, when would I? They don't make their way down there.
I don't know. They do sometimes.
Yeah.
I met that one last month here in Tennessee.
Yeah, but you've heard, people who've been to Canada.
Oh, I mean, I've been to Canada.
I don't know anybody that's been to Canada. That's not true. That's an
Yes, you do.
exaggeration. Yeah,
You know someone who's from Canada.
yeah, I do. I know quite a few people from
We
Canada.
had this conversation the other day, actually.
But not on this podcast.
Wait.
No.
Oh, I thought we did. Anyway.
It was in your room.
Oh, right. No, I don't know. It's just strange to me that that's like a normal thing, that accidentally people wandering into Canada. I've never had that issue because there's like 6 U.S. states I have to get to. I go, oh, I'm almost there. Let's see, Missouri. Well, I guess Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota. So I guess it would have been 3. Or Michigan, if you count, it's 5. Or 4 or 5. Depends on which route you take. You do Kentucky, Ohio.
If you go straight north, you got Missouri, Iowa, and
Minnesota.
And then
So
you're in
3.
Canada.
Yeah.
But those are some pretty good sized states north to south.
Yeah.
If you
Oh, I
go-
know. I've tried it, Ryan. I've tried it before. I tried it and only got up till through southern Minnesota and up into Wisconsin. Then I stopped. So anyway, what's a riveting conversation.
I'm having a great time.
Okay,
Jacob, what'd you think about the Northman?
we're jumping right in.
We ought to. Our last episode was quite long. This one doesn't need to be that long.
Like we can talk. Okay, well the last episode was the Marvel.
And we were just having a really good time.
Oh, we're not right now.
I'm having fun.
I spent like half the time talking last time, not this
True.
time.
I'm also a lot more tired right now than I was this time yesterday.
What Ryan, did you have any more thoughts?
He says no.
I really enjoyed it. I came out of it pumped. It was some of the stuff I like. I don't know if you guys feel about maybe not Norse mythology, but kind of. I mean, there's some Norse mythology, but
Did it make you want to play God of War?
God of War, some Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Valhalla.
Yeah.
We just need a sequel now.
Sequel to the Northman.
The
See what
Southman.
happens with these kids.
That's true. The Southman, the South women. Yeah, I wondered if there was a similar. I come into it thinking I had no idea the director who did it also did The Witch. Have you guys
Yeah.
seen The Witch?
No, I've not actually.
It's pretty good. I feel like it's kind of not necessarily as action packed. You guys know what it's about? It's about the Salem witch trials, basically, and so some super creepy, borderline satanic stuff.
What's his name? Roger Egberts?
The director?
Robert Edgars?
What? No, it's not Robert Eggers.
Well,
Robert Egger. Hold on. Oh, it is Robert Eggers.
it is
Dude,
Eggers.
look at that. Your
Yeah.
mind's like a steel trap.
Rusted and many gaps to be found.
Wait, what?
I don't know. I just called my mind.
Oh,
It's like
steel
a
trap,
it's like
but
a metal
rusted.
box where there's no lid on top, and it's upside down.
Oh, okay. No, I liked it, but I felt like a lot of things were kind of unearned. That's kind of how I was like, I really enjoy this, but I could also see why people not like it. Not necessarily because it's not violent. That did sound pretty funny. Didn't
What's an example of an unearned moment in this film?
The when he reveals himself to his mother and is like, I've come to save you, and she's like, no, your dad is an awful person, and I purposefully am with
I
her."
had him killed.
Yeah, like that. I was like, there was nothing to lead up to that. In fact, I wasn't even sure what your relationship was like with your mother, besides the fact that he's a savior.
There actually was something that led up to it a little bit.
Okay.
In the beginning,
Yeah.
when he showed up, she handed him her cup.
Yeah, I did
drink
notice
from.
that. Okay, so I noticed that too, but I didn't know.
And it was,
I knew that there was something going on between them.
I just thought she was showing more compassion to him than his brother.
His
was.
brother was. Yeah, I felt like there was something going on between them, but I didn't actually. I mean, when you see her, like when the boy's escaping, and then she's like, let me go, let me go. That seemed to me like, okay, you didn't actually want this.
I actually thought, and I didn't entertain the thought during the time, but I remember in hindsight, I thought she was laughing.
Really?
She's getting carried away. I had the brief thought. I was like, this
Sounds
is
like a laugh.
very much not someone panicking, and I think I put it away because it immediately gets, the moment the guy whose nose is gone
Yeah.
says, "Oh yeah, the boy's dead."
Right.
So that kind of takes the moment. And then he goes and kayaks across the ocean.
Yeah.
So here's a
And
question.
no one sees him.
Were we, as a viewer, in that time, or were we as a viewer, in the kid's mind?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because it could be how he remembered it is what we saw.
I would
But
say,
they didn't seem to take the movie that
but they bring the
direction,
and they bring the
But-
guy back that's lost his nose.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty serious. But it makes me wonder because at first when whatever, spoiler alert, when he kills his mom, because that's a kind of a tricky situation where it's like, oh, my mom didn't actually, but what does that mean for me? And I didn't think about this till now, but you have to imagine she knew what was going to happen to him. Like when she's getting like, fake kidnapped.
Yeah, she was willing to make that sacrifice.
That's what it seems like. But they don't even talk about that. I guess there's nothing that really reflected on that.
Yeah, she's just kind of like, you live.
Oh, okay. Your uncle can't know.
Now we got a kiss.
Yeah. Oh man, that was weird. Yeah, incestuous.
Here's something that would have made this movie experience more impactful for Ryan that we experienced that he didn't get to. He went to Regal Cinemas, and we went to AMC. And so we spent 45 minutes before the movie watching Nicole Kidman detail how she's at an AMC theater.
And how you should watch more AMC
That's
movies.
right.
I'm like, I'm already in it, woman. And then 5 minutes later, she's on screen
There she
again.
is again. So Ryan didn't get to experience that.
It also did you watch Dolby Atmos? Oh, man. That was an experience. That one felt good.
It was so cool.
It was scary. It was good.
So loud.
I haven't seen a Dolby Atmos film yet, so I need to go to a good one when I see that.
What was the other one that
I'd
we
say
saw?
that's a good one to watch it in.
Oh, I watched the Batman in it
Oh, really?
the day after we went.
See, that would have been a good one to watch it in.
It
as
was
well.
very bright.
Yeah.
Like there are moments in that movie where light is just on it's just on the camera.
Hmm.
So in the Dolby Atmos, it hurt my eyes a couple of times.
Gotcha. But question.
Answered.
Okay.
Daily Double.
Daily.
Look,
Uh,
it happens.
so yeah. Beautiful scenery, right? Beautiful
Oh.
shots. I mean, it was really, really pretty.
So pretty.
Did you guys? One of the things that happened. Well, there's a number of like visions and supernatural-esque looking stuff happening, like the I guess the ritual that him and his dad have with Willem Dafoe.
The dog-like ritual.
Yeah, you like act like a wolf or whatever, or I guess a dog that's starving. So I brought up this. There's like, because it's kind of hallucinogenic, but it's a sweat. I was gonna look this up.
Is it when he farts and his dad goes, "Oh, we got a sneaky one,"
Yes.
or whatever he said?
Are you guys familiar with sweat lodges?
No.
So Sweat Lodge is pretty similar. I believe. I mean, it's primarily Native American, but sweat lodges are literally they make like igloo or
So I imagine it's like
teepee.
like a sauna in a way.
Yeah, exactly. But they legitimately sweat themselves out to the point that they start to hallucinate. Like they don't pass out, and then that believe it's like a spiritual experience for them, a ritual.
Interesting.
And so,
Have you ever done one?
No, not yet. Don't count me out.
Well, here's your surprise for the evening.
Honestly,
Jacob, come on downstairs and show us.
he's gonna put this sleeping bag above you, and you're gonna. But it is. I only know that because I read a book that's about like Native American culture, and that was a piece of it where it was like legitimately like this is when we reach the other side and speak to the dead. And it's like actually you're about to pass out. But the same thing kind of happens in this with their having their rituals, speaking to the gods. It's kind of a rite of passage with them, with the kiddo. And then they also have another one. Well, kind of happens with the traveler, or I guess the Wiccan man who's speaking through Willem Dafoe's decapitated
Dead head.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
It was. There's a lot of that. I hesitate to call it spiritual, but I suppose it is.
It's very pseudo spiritual. Yeah.
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 Those kind of ceremonies and stuff. It's very interesting. Super pagan.
Yeah.
I mean, entirely pagan.
They have some Christian. They mention the Christians in the movie.
Yeah, the Christians are slaves.
Yeah, and they're like, these Christians are weird. I'm like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally.
What are you guys doing with that body
well,
part?
after the Northman's done tearing apart the camp, they're all going to become missionaries.
Yeah, exactly.
Christ wins in the end,
Yes.
fellas.
Yeah.
Very good.
He emulates a lot of. He's like a demonic presence, I guess. In this,
I liked that.
I did too.
How he was kind of like a plague on this farm.
Originally, what I kind of hated about the premise of the movie, I then saw like, okay, well, there's the stake because the stakes feel really low. Because it's a little story. His uncle, jealous for power, his bastard uncle, I should say, as in born to. No, well, he doesn't know his conceived out of wedlock.
Yes.
So it's not a bad.
Yeah,
word.
he's not swearing. It's the technical
Swearing,
term.
Yes, swearing. But
This is family friendly. Teach
he
your
is-
kids that Some
No-
words mean things.
Yes. And anyway, so he sets up a plot. His uncle sets up a plot to kill his father, and then he escapes after they try to kill him, and then he comes back. Well, it turns out in due time they were going to get the king invades, king of Norway, I guess it is, invades and kicks him out to Iceland anyway, which
is fine. It's prettier there.
I mean,
Don't have a kingdom or anything.
but it's mostly rock, and so then it's like, Father, why do we have to work like this? Why can't we get our slaves to do it? And he's like, you got to learn to be a king, you got to lead, that kind of thing. But it's like a king of, like a double wide trailer in the middle of a.
Yeah, he's like a baron.
Yeah, and so it's like it doesn't feel. It doesn't. It feels like the stakes have been lowered.
You're entirely right.
I'm like, are they gonna spend the entire time here? Yeah, they do.
Which does a lot for the movie. Obviously, not all good. I mean, if the stakes were there's a throne to be gained, I mean, we're talking as high as stakes as there are in this kind of day and age.
Yeah, I was wondering how you would, but how you could do that. Once you've already lowered the stakes, you can't really raise it back up.
And they didn't.
Because ultimately his goal is, his destiny is revenge for his father. It's not like a particular, he's not looking for his kingdom back. He's not looking for a throne.
And
Maybe like continuing on the family line.
And that helps by removing the kingdom stakes. By saying, I have a destiny set out before me, and now there's even less getting in the way of that.
Yeah, but I also feel like that ruins, like there's not, the motivation.
The motivation is solely death.
Well, there, and that is one of the themes there. It's this like deterministic, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not going to let anything get in the way. That comes back a lot, where it's like, why are you doing this? Because this is my destiny, and this is my fate. It's
Very much
fatalistic,
a
I guess you
Viking
say.
epic thing to say.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like I mean, the last scene, whenever they're fighting, I mean, at the gates of hell, that's cool.
Yeah, the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, with Mustafar.
Yeah, the last 20 minutes of this movie is Revenge of the Sith.
Pretty awesome though.
Oh, it's so cool.
But okay, to bring it back to our Doctor Strange episode, how how I felt when darkness causes darkness to fall over,
Imprisoning me.
all that I see. Yeah, it's absolute horror. When it falls on the camp, and then the guy starts eating the food and puking it up, and then it's like, oh my gosh, something's happening. Like that had me scared. I know the guy. I'm rooting for the guy. I'm still pretty scared. That's the feeling I expected to have when Scarlet Witch shows up at Comertage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the feeling I wanted to have, and I didn't get that with Doctor Strange. Whereas this one, I was like, ooh, this is spooky. I'm into this.
So how do you mean?
Like that feeling.
Like I get the feeling, but for who?
What do you mean?
You mean for our main character?
Yeah, like I was spooked out by our main character.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I'm looking forward to it.
I
but
thought
also I'm scared.
I thought you meant for like the noseless guy, or
I mean, I was scared for them.
The uncle.
Yeah, but luckily we were on the same side, so I'm like, yeah, I'm scared for you, but it's not gonna matter.
That's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. Okay. No, you're absolutely right.
It's a good spooky.
Yeah, you're right. Rooting for him, but this is creepy.
I wondered.
I mean, he guts people.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's the horse.
He kills two people and puts their body in.
Was it 2 or 3? I wondered if it was 3
It's
people. There's a
probably
lot
5
of
or 6.
There's a lot of limbs
And he
on there.
shapes their corpses in the shape of a horse on the side of a building.
And it's cool.
Gosh, it's cool.
You gotta
It's
leave it up there.
brutal.
Yeah, take a picture.
But yeah, Facebook,
They pull up their
Facebook
iPhone
had
and just
a
take
header
a
photo
picture.
right there.
Where'd you Christians get this iPhone? But
Heathens.
I thought that somewhere along the way, I don't know. You have to tell me if you guys thought this.
Something along the way.
Yes, I was wondering if halfway through it was going to be there. Maybe it was his relationship was developing with Anya Joy Taylor's character, and I wondered if it was going to be like, "Hey, this is what's out of bounds. Don't cross that line." And then eventually he would push it to the point where he crosses the line. And then it's like now as an audience, he does this like heel turn. And now it's like as an audience, I have to root against him. I wondered if that was going to happen. Did you guys ever?
I get exactly what you mean. And they did their own version of that.
Yeah.
When he has to go and kill his uncle because he finds out his honey is pregnant with twins.
Yep.
He says, "My blood is in you." super excited. You know how cool that you're gonna have children, but he says, "My uncle will never stop hunting me. I
Yeah.
have to." I'm not sure I believed that.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it was intense, but like the uncle had suffered so much loss, but he still had. I mean, he still had his wife.
Yeah.
He still had his favorite son. No offense to the older son.
Right.
He still had, and he's. I don't think he would have risked anything else to lose them.
No, he's worried.
So this guy jumps ship as they're escaping.
Yep.
So he blows his chance to be with his love, and to raise children, to go get revenge.
Right.
And it's cool, it's manly, and it's epic, but it's not. It's the worst story, not for a movie.
Right.
Because
But-
it's not the happy ending,
Yeah,
and this is what they had to do.
Right.
But I'm kind of with you in kind of like a pseudo way, where it's like they did their own version of that. With like, I didn't root against him by the time he makes it to land and is ready to fulfill his revenge. But that whole time,
But you knew then
he's
he
like,
wasn't coming back alive.
you knew.
Yeah.
And as soon as he says, "I have to go," you're like, "No,
No, you don't.
stop it,
Yeah. Right.
go!" Like,
Yeah.
which I'm glad that I felt that way because I wasn't overly attached to any of these characters.
But it felt a little tropey.
It did.
Like he has to because that's
Yep.
what the script demands.
It did. But thankfully, we get the absolute coolest part of this movie.
Yeah. I was
Battle
also
at the gates of hell.
I was wondering if I was wondering if that moment was going to happen when he kills his mom and then kind of accidentally kills. I mean, the kid comes up and stabs.
Yeah, he
him.
didn't overly want to kill either of them.
Yeah, I thought that was the oh my gosh, what have I done? Now I have to become this villain moment. But that never really happened. He like picks up his dad or the uncle picks up the bodies and goes, "I will meet you at the gates of hell and I will kill you. Spill your blood." And he's like, "All right,
All right, see you there. I'll see you in a bit. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, right. See you
Yeah.
tomorrow. Catch you in the office."
I loved that decision for the uncle to very just solemnly pick up the corpses of the only two things left that he cared about.
Yeah.
That are gone. He's like, "All right, it's you and me.
Right.
We're gonna do this where we need to do this. Let's get this over with."
Yeah.
It's also almost like he was giving him a choice to run one last time
But he knew he wouldn't
and to
have.
not actually.
Yep.
Do you think so?
Y-
You think he's extending that invitation to run? Huh?
I mean,
Yeah.
anytime you give time, that's part of a guaranteed.
Or
Sure.
maybe it is like you said, it's kind of his understanding that this is his fate because he's going to extend him that invitation and he knows he can't take it. You know,
He and
they both got the
at
memo.
that point, his fears of his uncle hunting down his family would have been true.
Yeah, I wonder though how much he's like his uncle is just stranded there on that island. Like they have the resources, they can get back and forth, but really it's like, what are you going to come to? You're not going to start your own kingdom. You got nowhere to go. What are you telling other people that you're a king? Wow, yeah, you're going to get murdered pretty quickly. You know, like he doesn't really have a lot going for him anymore.
That's true. He has nothing.
Yeah.
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 Wouldn't be surprised if his people would have turned against him immediately anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly. So maybe that's why I also felt like, yeah, it's true that the stakes are pretty low, so that it's not super complicated. This is what our protagonist has to lose. Not really anything. He's just got to fulfill his destiny. What does his antagonist have to lose? Not a lot. I mean, he has his family.
Nothing anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
He lost it.
Exactly. But even then, I would say like there's not a kingdom. There's not really a kingdom to lose. It's just like this ranch.
I think as we're talking about it, I'm actually starting to appreciate this movie a little more because you're right. The stakes were low, but he had arrived. Like he had what he desired for the rest of his life.
Who, the uncle?
Yep. I don't think that. I mean, if he had desired to be a king again, he probably would have made a play, or they would have mentioned that he made a play or something.
Yeah.
But he had arrived in contentment.
I think he was just tired.
Oh, I'm sure that's part of it too.
Yeah.
But another thing that as we're talking about it that I'm really appreciating is this movie is about a guy's destiny, and everything happens the way it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the movie does a really good job with that. Not everything is as we want it, but that's not this movie. We didn't come into this movie expecting a happy ending. By the time we started to realize that him and Anya Taylor-Joy's character were in love, it's at the back of our mind. We're like, oh, they could.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they survived, they would have each other. I could see them
Right.
doing that.
Yeah.
But everything happened the way it needed to for his destiny to see it through.
Yeah.
And
that's
that
true.
rhymed.
I think that there are some things that I wish I had seen more. Like the first half of him after he leaves, he escapes,
The mainland.
and then he grows up, and some pretty cool scenes. Like there's some berserker scenes. He's like,
Oh yeah. Talk a little bit about Berserkers, because you and I had talked about them very briefly a few months back, and so that scene happens, and you bring it up, and I was like, oh my gosh, Jacob and I talked about this once.
I don't know a lot about him. Berserkers.
That's fine.
Bearskin in medieval Norse and Germanic history and folklore, a member of unruly warrior gangs that worship Odin, the supreme Norse deity, and attach themselves to royal noble courts as bodyguards and shock troops. So these are crazy guys. They're bigger. They're the ones that like you send in on the front end of battle to like go in, raid camps. Bigger, quicker, crazier. I don't know if there was any hallucinogenics involved, but I imagine that there was quite a bit of rigor training that would be considered mentally unstable. They would probably have been pushed to that point.
Yeah, sacrificing your sanity.
Yeah, exactly. And sacrificing your body. But even then, it was like, man, that's the part I love is like, this is legitimately, there were some video game moments in there. I'm like, this is Berserker class. This is what they do.
The taking of the village.
Yes.
The first
felt
moment
like
he's a grown man.
Yeah, it feels like a raid from like Assassin's Creed or something.
The spear moment sets the tone.
That was so cool. Yeah, the football toss, like he catches it in one hand and toss, which is pretty impressive.
Oh, it's so cool.
And then so he goes through, and plenty of video game moments that I felt like I was like, I guess I could just appreciate it from
turn your brain off
perspective.
Yeah, and run through a brick wall.
But even then, I feel like where the rest of them are going into their typical fanatical, just like rage driven, spree. I still felt like in that scene when they're raiding that village, I still felt like he was under control. It almost felt like he was distracted.
He was the only one though
that was under control.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like even under.
Oh yeah, he was never really there.
Yeah, it just felt like he was distracted. He was like,
still
I know
his revenge plot.
And still doing, which I didn't think you could do is like go through as this berserker class and still look like, hey man, hey, we're here now. Are you ready to invade this village? He's like, yeah, just whenever. Like he's just kind of watching these events as they unfold throughout the village. That kind
and if you notice, he doesn't. I mean, it's all brutal, and partaking in any of it is brutal.
But he just kind of.
But he doesn't partake in the burning.
Right.
He doesn't harm women or children.
Right. But he also doesn't flinch at it either. Like he's pretty desensitized.
He knows what he's a part of, but he only kills men.
In what capacity was he in that role? Like, did they? Was this like they
didn't touch on it?
Did they feel
a little bit that they did? It sounded like they kind of just
got
took
the
him
kids. Yeah, they like the
kid,
yeah.
And then he just.
That's what I thought. It was like maybe not orphans, but it's just like wandering kids.
He told anyone who he was.
Yeah. So, and I don't think they.
And we don't spend a lot of time there. We get we get all of that information, and half a minute later, it's wait, why are these slaves going to Iceland?
Yeah.
Oh, because the ex-king is there now.
See, I wish we had more of that. I wish we had more of that, like that conquest, whatever. Learn more about why he's there. Is he a mercenary? What is the work that he's doing there on the mainland?
And that was something that I was thinking somewhat is he was kind of their top warrior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I felt like he was in a position where he could have said, hey, I'm going to go do this thing. And they would have gone with him.
So this is similar to, but a little bit quicker, faster pace, similar to Gladiator, where I was like, I think I leaned over. I was like, oh, this is his Gladiator moment when he jumps out into the boat and he's like pretends to be a slave. I was like, oh, Gladiator. But I mean, like I said, less stakes. You're not going to
Gladiator's
you're
way
running
better.
away from it.
That's true.
So
yeah, it's not a story about him. This is the story about seeing this revenge through.
Or maybe even like maybe he comes back, so he knows that his homeland's been invaded by the king of Norway. Maybe there's something that brings him back to it that then like, oh man, now I'm just thinking through this movie.
Pontificating.
Like, yeah, if there was a moment, not that okay, I'm going to armchair quarterback for a second for a movie that I'm sure no one needs help.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, no one needs help making this movie. But what would you say, like, as a plot point? Like, he goes back, he finds out they're no longer there, right? And somehow he learns this is where they're going, so he knows that's where his trajectory is. But in the process, he learns that his mom was in on it. Or something like that.
I mean, that would drastically change it.
Yeah. So what would it?
State the obvious.
Yeah. I mean, it would develop a little bit more of the character, some of the stuff they're wrestling with, and then he's like,
It's a very different movie.
yeah,
Part of me thinks it's a little better
yeah, I think so too.
because it becomes less about just it's still revenge.
But it's a little
Because
more
it being a
complex.
Viking epic, it's still going to be okay. Well, now I have to just kill both of them.
Yeah,
Um,
because his original fate was, avenge.
remember the boat.
Avenge father, save
I will
mother,
avenge you,
kill
father.
uncle.
I will save you, mother. I
Yeah,
will kill you, uncle.
Which, I mean, like, he doesn't really. I mean, if that's his fate, he fulfilled 2 of the 3. If you think about it,
His mom was gone.
yeah, he wasn't saving her.
Yeah, there's no saving to be done.
So it's like, well, we'll just throw that out the window.
I will say, I can't help but laugh where he tells Anya Taylor-Joy, even if she is my mother, I will not harm a woman. I know he didn't like intentionally do it, but
Did he say that? I totally forgot that.
He put his sword through her chest.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Maybe that's something that this is an intention. It does feel like there's that push and pull between how much of this is fulfilling your fate as it was intended, like as the gods in this movie intend, and how much are you unintentionally forsaking like your fate,
Yep.
going against it, but unintentionally. Like even in your best effort to do what you set out to do, you actually do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that as well, I think. But
Well, I think before we rank it, there's one scene I just remembered I feel like we should talk about.
okay.
The sword, the acquisition of the sword
Oh yeah.
with the zombie.
Straight up Skyrim, dude.
Yeah, with the,
Again, there's
the
so many
zombie
video game
samurai.
moments. Yeah.
That was dope.
So go ahead.
He was also giant.
True, twice the
'Cause,
size of
I
him.
mean, he was a good sized man, and
The
that
Draugr.
creature was
Yeah.
twice the size of him.
Yeah, dude.
It was sweet.
There's some you made it was it you that made an interesting point about the supernatural moments, like if they actually really happened? Because they were
Yeah,
in
we
black
talked
and
about that a
white.
bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just about whether or not.
Because I was under the impression that all happened. Like there's the gods that are definitely pulling.
No.
strings.
It was Jacob.
Yeah, so I was about to say Jacob.
Other
Bassett did.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Our other roommate Jacob.
Yeah.
He did not believe that any of the supernatural things.
Right.
That being
The scene with the Draugr.
What is it?
Draugr.
Which
Yeah.
was the giant sword zombie.
Yeah.
He would have.
Because it did reset him when he
Yeah,
turned
with
around.
that one, I would say, yeah. I think it was a dream.
Okay.
the Valkyrie.
Yep.
He said,
One of the Valkyrie ones, maybe.
I think it all happened.
Yeah.
Because this world is in its world.
Yep.
It's not one of those moments where this is a movie, but it like you're
Plays
still a
around with
viewer.
that,
No,
what's
you are
real.
you are in a world where Norse mythology is reality.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that way too. Even like I guess like the Ravens.
His father being a flock of ravens in the afterlife.
Yeah, and kind of
That's pretty cool.
that is really cool too. So
That's what I think is going to actually happen to Ethan Hawke after he dies.
he's gonna turn into a Raven.
Flock of ravens. Yeah.
Yeah, and just bother people.
Dude, I'm about it. Bother his brother.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I kind of walked away from it and I was like, I really enjoyed this movie. I totally expect, I think how many people did we watch it with? It was me, you, and then 3 others, 4 or 5. It's 5 of us. So it's 7 total.
7 of us total.
Yeah. And I think it was probably about
Only
3,
3 of us.
4,
Only
3,
3 of us
4
liked
split.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I totally expected. I didn't really.
Yeah, the 3 who liked it are the 3 I expected to
Yeah,
like it.
exactly. So I can't. I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it to everyone, but if you're into Norse mythology, I think it's a fun little depiction.
It is. And I will also throw it out if you very much like gorgeous films.
It's pretty.
It's so pretty. The
It is a
wide
beautiful
shots
movie.
are breathtaking and the soundtrack is very good.
Oh man, love the soundtrack. I
Yep.
think I listened to it. I mean, there's a horror element to it for sure.
There is.
There's plenty of like horror tracks.
Awesome.
I still listen to it even when I'm like studying or
Yeah,
reading a book.
I've listened to it a
just
bit
makes
in the
it
last few weeks.
changes the tone of everything. So
Officially would not recommend it for anyone under the age rating of rated R.
Right.
There's some rated R movies where it's like I can get by. This is not one of those.
no, definitely not.
nope.
Definitely not. For violence.
Almost sheerly violence.
Yeah.
But especially if you're a Christ-fearing family, I wouldn't recommend a 12-year-old watch these rituals.
Yeah. But I feel like that's been.
And what am I supposed to say? But if you're not, your 12-year-old can.
I feel
no,
like
okay.
I feel like that's been a theme lately between that, the Batman, Doctor Strange. It's like, no, I wouldn't take my kid to see these. It's too dark.
Which is impressive to say about both Batman and Doctor Strange being superhero movies.
Yeah. Northman, I'm like, okay, yeah, probably not.
But just growing up, being someone who would have watched these as a kid,
oh yeah,
it's like no, we can't be doing that.
I don't know. I think I probably, if I watched it as a kid, I'd probably be like, this is boring. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't.
And then
I
it
don't
would
know
have given
many
me a
kids that would
nightmare.
enjoy.
Yeah.
The Northman.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of people that would enjoy it. It feels. I was
That's
talking.
true. Yeah, I don't know many grown men who would like it.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about it. I said, because I was like, it reminds me of The Witch in the way that it's grounded. It seems like a really grounded movie, and it's action and stuff. And like, really, it's got Odin in it. That's grounded. I'm like, well, I mean, in terms of
itself,
style,
yeah,
in its style, it's grounded. Like Joker is grounded violence.
Yeah,
right. Not to say that it's real. I mean, like,
but these movies,
you really feel
they own the world they're in.
Well, and so that's what I feel about the Northman when it's like
it doesn't break its own rules.
Well, it's not a stylistic violence. It's a very it's like very gritty movie, and so that's really hard to sell to a wider audience.
And that's fine. That's not our job. Our job's to talk about it.
Well, I'm talking about recommending it.
I know. I promise that I know this is the end of the episode, but the average person would enjoy listening to this episode more than they'd enjoy watching the movie.
Maybe. Hopefully, we're not as scary as they are. Or as scary as Skarsgård is.
Sorry, I just don't remember the theme.
Of Avengers?
Of the Northman.
Oh. Yeah. Northman to the Avengers confirmed.
The Northman will not return.
Woj reports
He's dead.
Northman's transferring.
Woj reports.
Odin will bring him back. He'd get Thor to bring him back.
Are you ready to rank?
Yes. I'm not. Read your rankings so far.
I have number 1, The Batman.
Okay.
Number 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
Nothing?
What?
Nothing?
No, go to your third one.
Oh, okay. Little, nothing to say, huh?
I said it last episode. You can go. You can pull it up on your phone and listen to it.
All right. Well, I lied. I still have Doctor Strange 2 at number 2. Everything Everywhere All at Once is 3.
Oh wait, yeah, you got to cover your track. Yeah.
No, my list is the same.
Yeah.
I put Northman at number 4. I enjoyed it a lot. Not a ton of rewatchability. I would rather just get an art book so I could look at the wide shots and get a vinyl of the soundtrack, and that's how I'll partake in the Northman for the rest of my life.
Interesting.
And I'll get on YouTube in about 2 months when it hits a streaming platform and just watch a couple of the action scenes on repeat. I'll come back to this movie again, but this is one, it'll be a few years.
Yeah. That's good. Ryan, you can rank 3 of them. If you remember
the Batman.
Where you put the Batman?
I think I had done Doctor Strange, then Batman.
Where do you put the Northman?
He's thinking, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no, this is.
I want to put it in 2 places because I liked the story
Okay.
and the action, but it was just too gory.
Yep. Would you say the same thing about Batman?
See, I didn't feel like that was gory all that much. It was violent, but not gory.
Oh, okay.
He's
That's
right.
the difference.
There's plenty of violence, but yeah,
but this one isn't very violent either. But it's gory. I mean, Batman's violent, not gory.
Okay,
Northman is gory, not violent.
Yeah, true. That's every single hit is a kill shot.
Yeah. I mean, so the front half of it's kind of violent, but it's not very gory. The back half is gory, but not a lot happens in terms of violence in the Northman.
What's your list, Ryan? Just
Probably
choose.
gonna have to put it in the 3rd place.
Choose an answer you're proud
All right,
of. 3.
Nice.
This movie is
It'll
good.
change when we watch other movies. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this isn't gonna stay number 4.
We'd love to fill up this list as much as possible in 2022.
So the poll will already be decided before this episode drops. So maybe you'll be hearing this after 7, or maybe 7 will be our next episode.
7, which is episode 11.
11, yep.
Yeah.
Or 12.
I put Batman, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Northman, Doctor Strange, and the Multiverse of Madness.
You like this better than Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I do. It's my kind of movie.
It is very much your kind of
Yeah,
movie.
I liked it.
Absolutely.
So cool.
But the only thing that's super set in stone to me is the fact that Batman over all of these.
I still feel like Halloween Ends is gonna.
Dude, if it
It
does,
has
I'll be
to,
so
dude.
happy.
It has to.
You gotta admit, Halloween Kills not great.
I don't have to admit that
It's
because
a
I didn't.
fun time.
I don't have to admit that because you told me what it was, and then 5 minutes later I watched it, so I had no expectation
That's fair.
whatsoever. But I
All right.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
Anything we need to say before we wrap up?
No. So we'll watch, or I guess our next movie. I guess you said will either be 7 or
Yep.
the one after that. Correct?
Yep. So we haven't watched 7 yet together as a team, but you
We will in
might
a
be
couple days.
you might hear 7 before this. It's up to you guys. So if this came out after 7 and you're mad about it, you should have voted.
That's true. I mean, I guess theoretically you could listen to it in whatever order you wanted.
That's also true.
I prefer you listening to it in the numbers that we've set it out. We've thought long and hard about how we want to release
That's
these
true.
things that we'd appreciate.
Including a poll.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, we're about to hit an hour, so we're gonna stop in 3.
Thank you guys for
2,
listening. See you guys
1.
later. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed listening to Three Dudes in a Movie podcast, part of the TDM Media Network. If you like what you heard, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast, share it with your friends, and leave a review on your nearest podcasting platform. You can connect with us by following us on Instagram at 3dudesmoviecast or email us reviews, ideas, questions, etc. directly at tdmoviecast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.